They documented everything carefully, knowing that even the smallest detail might matter later. Witnesses described the person they saw running from the store as a young man, late teens, maybe early 20s. He was moving quickly, heading away from the scene. The jacket and gloves found nearby seemed to match what people had seen him wearing. But here's the thing. A description like that only goes so far. Young man, late teens, early 20s could describe half the guys in Sudbury at the time. Without a name, without something concrete, it was like chasing smoke. For the people of Sudbury, the shock turned into fear. It wasn't a big city where crime felt distant. It was home. Paris Street was a main road, a place people drove by every day. The idea that something like this could happen there in broad daylight was terrifying. Parents worried about their kids. Students at Laurentian whispered about it in hallways. Customers who had been in the video store before thought, that could have been me. And then there was the grief. Renee's family, her friends, her classmates, they were all devastated. The city mourned with them. Vigils were held. Flowers were left outside the store. People wanted to do something, anything, to show that Renee mattered, that she wouldn't be forgotten. From day one, the investigation was intense. The Sudbury Police Service threw everything they had at it. Detectives worked long hours, following up on every lead. They sent the jacket and gloves to the lab for testing. They compared fingerprints. They tracked down anyone who might have been in the area that morning. But despite all that effort, the case didn't break open. Leads fizzled, tips didn't pan out, the suspects seemed to have vanished. And that's when the case began its long journey into becoming a cold case. For Renee's family, those first weeks were unbearable. They had lost someone they loved, and on top of that, they had no answers. For the community, it was a wound that didn't heal. Every time people drove past the video store, they thought of her. Every time the anniversary came around, the store was back in the news. And for the police, it was a case that weighed heavily. They had evidence, they had witnesses, but they didn't have a name, and without a name, they couldn't move forward. The years after 1998 were some of the hardest for everyone connected to Renee's story. For her family, there was the daily ache of loss, compounded with the fact that there was no answers. For the community, it was like a wound that never healed. Every January, the anniversary came around, and with it came the same questions. Would this be the year something finally broke open? Would this be the year they learned who was responsible? The Sudbury police never closed the file. It stayed active, even as detectives came and went. Some retired, others were reassigned, but the case itself remained on the books. Officers would revisit the evidence, re-interview witnesses, and follow up on tips that trickled in. And through it all, the jacket and gloves found near the store remained central. They were carefully preserved, stored in conditions that would protect them, because investigators knew that one day science might be able to tell them more than it could in 1998. And that's the thing about cold cases. They're not really cold in the sense of being forgotten. They're more like embers, glowing quietly, waiting for the right spark. In this case, that spark came from advances in forensic science. By 2010, DNA testing had become far more precise and reliable than it had been in the late 90s. Databases had expanded, and the ability to cross-reference samples was stronger than ever. Investigators decided to retest the evidence collected from the scene